Welcome to Something to Talk About.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. And I'll be talking about my A Song of Ice and Fire Dragon tournament that I've been doing for a certain amount of days. I'm not doing math right now. 12 days, does that sound right? Yeah, like 12 days. Yeah, no, I can math. I can do math. It's 12 days. So I've been doing it for 12 days. And yeah, so I'm going to go over the first two rounds. And it's a little silly that this is the first update I'm doing. And there's 3 matches left. So my next update will be coming out very soon. So yeah, we're going to get through them. If you don't know what we're talking about, this is the thumbnail you clicked, and this is the rules. I'll read them super quick. I have been taking 15 dragon riders and their dragons and pitting them against each other. Some dragons will be featured twice with different riders, and the dragon will be the size that it is when ridden by said rider. We don't need to do the example. The fight will take place at a neutral location, one-on-one. Each match will be voted on daily. May the best giant fire lizard god win. And let's talk about which giant fire lizard gods we started with. So we had Aemon on Vhagar versus Jaehaerys on Vermithor. Rhaena on Dreamfyre. Dreamfyre Rhaena is one of my favorite characters, by the way. I always have to say it whenever we cover Rhaena. I also knew that she wasn't going to make it very far, so I'm just happy she showed up. I'm at versus Rhaenys on Meleys, and then Alysanne, go to Queen Alysanne on Silverwing. Aemon, son of Jaehaerys, on Caraxes. Aegon I on Balerion the Black Dread versus Cannibal by himself. So he is the one dragon that doesn't have a rider. It's just Cannibal. And then Visenya on Vhagar versus Daemon on Caraxes. Ulf the White on Silverwing versus Aegon II on Sunfyre. And then Nettles on Sheepstealer versus Rhaenyra on Cyrax. And finally, Maegor the Cruel on Balerion the Black Dread versus Hugh Hammer on Vermithor. So we got that whole round done, and we'll go over the results and comments, and the second round too. So we will be ending with starting tomorrow. I'll be doing the first semifinals match, and then another semifinals, and then the finals. So the tournament's almost done. We already got 3 matches left, and yeah, four riders left with only 3 different dragons. So yeah, it's going good. So let's get into Aemond One-Eye on Jaehaerys I. Jaehaerys I on Vermithor won this 65-35. And I'm going to state right now, this is not only the first match, but this is the first upset in my opinion. I thought Aemon was in like the top 4 of possible winners. And he lost. I didn't think Vermithor, at least on Jaehaerys, had a chance because he's a much smaller and younger dragon than a lot of the people that we'll be seeing here, especially Vhagar. So, yeah, I was actually extremely surprised. So this is the first time I had an idea. If you watched my preview video, I had an idea of who's going to make it the furthest. And my ideas went out the window. I was like, all right, this is going away. Like, I'm completely wrong. 2 of the guys who I was like, oh, they're going to have a good chance on this side of the bracket, they're both out already. And one of them is Aemond One-Eye on Vhagar. I thought he had this in the bag. So let's look at some comments. We had Emily Pennington. Is that what we're going to go with? What's up, Emily? Said, Jerry and Verm. I like it because I always say old man Jerry for Jaehaerys. So make me feel good there. All right, and then Grant Campbell said, I think this one will end with Jerry and Verms taking it by a hair. Vhagar was ended by a much smaller dragon, although obviously ended in their joint doom. Yeah, a lot of people kind of give the win to Caraxes there, and no one survived as far as we know. Right, maybe somebody did. But as far as we know, both dragons died. We know for a fact both dragons died. We're not sure if both dragon riders died, but we're pretty sure they never showed back up, right? And also, that was with a suicide move. Like, you can't, we'll talk about Rogue Prince, Daemon Targaryen here in a little bit on Caraxes. But if you guys don't know how that fight went, Vhagar and light spoilers for House of Dragons. but he, not light spoilers, I'm sorry if you don't know this, but should I talk about it? All right, I'm not going to talk about it. Fine. I just realized there's a lot of listeners who have not read the books and they're probably watching House of Dragon. They don't know. But essentially, it's a move that is like, it's a kamikaze move. I don't know how else to say it. It is a dive that is going to take everybody out. And it's saying that that's like some type of a strategy or like, yeah, but Jaehaerys gonna handle, or Vhagar gonna handle that. Yeah, but it's, I don't know. That's like such a weird outlier of how that match ended, and no one survived. It should be what you're going for. All right, that's all I'm getting at. And Jeremy Hall said in a fight there would probably be both, probably both not make it out alive. Thank you. But if you had to vote for a character, if you have to vote for the character you like, it's hard to pick many over Jaehaerys. That's so reasonable. Like, I think everyone's gonna die, but I really like old man Jerry. Like, no, if you like old man Jerry, then go. That's fine. I'm never against anyone's reasons why voting. The only problems I ever have in the comments, and I'm pointing at my other screen, not that you guys can see it, is when people go after each other or when they use lies or the lack of information. That's when it bothers me. But if you justify your win with like, hey, I know the Mountain could beat Hyle Hunt, but I love Hyle Hunt. Word. Like I got nothing against that. These are stupid votes. I don't take this as seriously as a lot of the people voting. I do love this, and these tournaments are definitely some of the best things the things I look forward to the most. My favorite part of my channel. They're right up there. It's like, probably my favorite thing I do. But I don't have a winner I want to win. It's fun to interact and see everybody interact, but I'm never like, dude, if Nimble Dick doesn't win, like, no. I only get mad at people's kind of like arguments sometimes, but it's when they're being hurtful or going after the other person or using logical fallacies. But hey, dude, I like King Jerry more. That's not a logical fallacy. It's a little goofy, but I'm down, man. Goofy. But I'm a very goofy person. All right. Let's find somebody I'm just kind of going down the line, but let's find with a lot of thumbs up here. So Squisher King said Aemon has more dragon scalps under his belt than anyone else in this tourney and is riding Vhagar, the biggest and most experienced dragon. Yeah, totally. Pretty whack to dismiss a guy who we see we see on paper survive more dragon on dragon battles than anyone else. And yeah, no, totally. I got nothing. I completely agree with you, Squisher King. Like I said at the beginning, I thought Aemon was going to win this, so I was very surprised. We had some back and forth, which I think I'm just going to kind of skip a lot of back and forth. If people start getting into it, I'm not going to reward arguing by reading them out, even if I agree with one person. It's just not the mood I'm in right now. How do I read out your name again? Oh, it is just HCLW. HCLW said, Aemon is winning this easily, and I don't know what you guys are reading. What makes you think Jaehaerys had a chance respectfully? Hey, I'm glad you had it respectfully there. At Vhagar, it's such a mismatch in any battle unless you pull off a 1 in a million suicide play like Daemon did, and you were not straight up winning, yeah, because he died too. Yeah, like I'm glad you said that respectfully. You made a lot of good points there. And yeah, I'm gonna see if I have any with a bunch of okay here. That guy Zatriel. There we go. Zatriel said Aemon should win this easily. People are just picking Joe because it's Jerry. Because they like him more. Vermithor gets killed by sea smoke, and he'd be 30, 60 years smaller when you keep calling Jaehaerys Joe. I've always looked at it as Jerry. Joe is writing him depending on how senile you want the writer to be. Yeah, the bigger you want Vermithor, the worse the writer gets. I hope you know that. Meanwhile, Vhagar has seen more combat than all dragons, period. Yeah, no, totally. And then Squisher King commented facts. So, yeah, I'm not going to read all comments. We got a lot to go, so we're going to move on past that. But yeah, good job, Jaehaerys. First upset, in my opinion. And yeah, so let's get moving to not a Tucker, very close. So Dreamfyre Rhaena versus Rhaenys on Meleys. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I voted Rhaena just because I love Dreamfyre Rhaena. Honestly, I was doing that. Oh, you just vote because you like the person? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So yeah, so Rhaenys on Meleys got 88% to Rhaena's 12. And let's look at how this went. So Rhaena so E. Marty said, does E. Marty have a different name? I don't think, nope, it's just E. Marty. Rhaena on Dreamfyre and Jaehaerys on Vermithor would be a match I'd prefer. Well, sorry, I didn't do that one. And you'd get Aemon versus Jaehaerys one-on-one. The reason I didn't do that is because that happened. Aemon, it wasn't one-on-one, but Aemon and Vhagar fought Rhaenys and Meleys, and I couldn't have them going against each other right away. I'm guessing for the record, I'm guessing tie for the record. Aegon joining it made it unfair. Aemon versus Rhaenys, the queen would never match. Okay, what you're saying is it would have been, that fight would have been really good if in the actual lore, if Aegon II didn't show up. And yeah, it would have been. You have the really giant, huge, slow dragon versus still a really big, fast-moving dragon. Yeah. Then Emily Pennington said again, Rhaenys are the Red Queen. All right. Yeah, I got a big soft spot for Rhaenys too. I think, and both of these guys, like Dreamfyre Rhaena and Rhaenys, the Queen that never was, are two characters I really love. Irish Potato Thief said, I will stay delusional for Dreamfyre and Rhaena. And I commented, so will I. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. There we go. Do I got any with a bunch? Efren T said both she dragons are similar in ages and probably the same size for this match. Dreamfyre never fought in a battle and is best known for laying clutches of eggs. Meleys is faster and fought simultaneously against Vhagar and Sunfyre, seriously injuring the latter. Meleys should win. Well, Meleys did win. So there you go. Perfect. Moving on. I spent way too long in that first match, so I wanna move a lot more. Good Queen Alysanne on Silverwing versus Aemon on Caraxes. We got a mom versus a son on this one. And yeah, I really like this match. All right, so Aemon on Caraxes won this 84% to 16. And then Hawk McBride. Oh, that's for the next. Whoa, the next match is crazy. Yeah, it is. We'll get to that. All right, I'm really proud. I've had a lot of people who's been commenting on my tournaments for a very long time, and I've had people who I've had to kind of tell, like, hey, keep it respectful. And I'm gonna say for HCLW, you've been really trying to keep it respectful, even though you're, for lack of better words, there we go. No, I got a better word. You're as passionate as you are, which I'm passionate too. So I understand that a lot of times that passion comes off aggressive. And you've been doing really good. No disrespect to Alysanne. She's a very experienced writer. This is you right now. But the most she ever did with Silverwing is pump faking and intimidation with Jaehaerys. Yeah, they did that a lot. And we consider Jaehaerys like a good king. And he was like, he did a lot of like, hey, you can do whatever you want. By the way, have you met Vermithor? They both did that. That's really messed up. All right. Aegon, Aemon, well, he never fought another dragon. Actually, did go into battle. Yep. His dragon, with his dragon, lopsided as it was after Jaehaerys reached a certain age, Aemon was trusted enough to handle future conflicts. Yeah. What he's referring to, I believe, is the Fourth Dornish War, which was just a Dornish fleet coming in, and then Balon and Aemon on Caraxes just flew back and forth, just burning everything. It's a way to go. Yeah, I mostly had Aemon in here just because I love Caraxes and I wanted Caraxes twice. Is really the main reason why I made it in. All right, and then Epron T finally said Caraxes was formidable and a fearsome dragon when Silverwing was considered relatively docile. This one goes to Caraxes, and then all right, I'll just do it. By the way, for tomorrow's match, Cannibal is older. Is Cannibal older, the same age, or younger than Balerion? And I just went like, I don't know, man. However you want to read it. We don't really know his age. So yeah. So let's get right into that. And where was I? Yep. So Aegon versus the Cannibal. So this is the one fight, as you know, that one of the dragons doesn't have a dragon rider. And when I thought of that, it was really like, wow, that could go either way, right? Like maybe people are going to think that's a detriment or maybe even a plus because like Cannibal didn't have anybody holding him back and he can just be violent instinct. And this match did not go the way I thought. I don't know if I actually had Cannibal winning, but I thought this was going to be a good match. And I was wrong. It was not. Aegon the First. Granted, it is Aegon the First on the black thread. Like, I'm pretty sure if I threw Cannibal against anybody that wasn't Vhagar or Balerion, I probably would have got Cannibal moving on. But I wanted Aegon to go against somebody. I wanted all the Balerions to go against a big, meaty, hard-to-kill dragon in round one, right? I didn't put Sheepstealer against Aegon, like Caraxes, or Cyrax. I didn't use any of these small ones. It was either going to be like a dragon we know was huge at the time, or what? Like, what are we going to do? Or else the Black Dread's just going to move right through. And I didn't want to go Vhagar versus Balerion and Vhagar versus Balerion. That would have been really lame. So I got Vhagar and Balerions away from each other on each sides, right? If you look, I got Vhagar on the top and I got Balerion on the bottom on all of them. And then I tried to throw pretty hard dragons against Balerion, and yeah, this is the worst he did. This is the worst that the Black Dread does. His worst showing is 82%. So yeah, it is what it is. But a lot of people, I think it came down to people not knowing what the deal is with Cannibal, right? How big is he? And are we going with? I'm trying to get your name. If I have to click them so I can get like what somebody's actual screen name is. Ivan Karamazov. Sorry, dude. Karamazov. I did my best. Let's just go with Ivan. All right, Ivan. Said, I have no concept on how Cannibal actually acted because not only was the dragon never appeared on the page. I mean, if you want to say never appeared on the page, then nothing in Fire and Blood appears on the page, right? Because he appears on the page, right? Like we hear about things he does, just not against other dragons, but we hear about the sowing of the dragon seeds and him killing people. Just like I was like a little hesitant on what you meant by that, but. Yeah, first-hand description and never appeared. A first-hand description has never appeared on the page. Okay, there you go. He has appeared on the page unless you just say that nothing in Fire and Blood appears on the page. A first-hand description, sure, we didn't get that. And it said a training experience. Warm blood, TB perhaps. Arabian horses. Oh, you're talking about horses. Will exceed a Pharaoh Mustang or Brumby in health, in great shape, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're saying that a trained horse is better than a wild horse. Every metric aside from endurance, since George R. R. Martin's are essentially mounts, yes. Unlike sentient dragons of Tolkien, this is the best real-world analog I can think of. It's not a bad real-world analog, honestly. You got a point. But horses aren't, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but horses are racing. They're not attacking each other, fighting each other, and they definitely are blowing fire, right? In a race, sure. Like anyone with a rider, I'm sure their maneuverability more, right? If you have a rider, but like, could a trained horse just take down any wild horse in a fight? Like, that's what we're talking about. Being taken care of has a very few downsides opposed to being made to fend for yourself. You got a point, especially when the dragon like Balerion opposed to younger dragons like Moondancer, Dreamfyre, Silverwing, or Cyrax. That can that care has been supplemented with training and experience fighting. Yeah, what you're saying is not only is Balerion trained, but also probably pampered better than anybody else, and also has had the most experience. And you're right. The only thing that I would give Cannibal, like, I think that Cannibal was going to get the chance, is this is Aegon's Balerion the Black Dread, and he would have been a lot smaller if we're going to assume that Cannibal was there before the Targaryens made it over. But that's still before the before the Targaryens made it over. Balerion was, alive. Maybe not huge, but alive. And there might be a chance that Cannibal is bigger, and especially because this is 100 years after. I'm not doing any math. After Aegon died, right? So Vhagar or Cannibal is possibly much larger than this specific Balerion the Black Dread. That's like the only thing that really he has going for him. And that depends on if you believe that he was there on Dragonstone before the Targaryens are red, which we don't know for sure, right? So Neon Akira, yeah, that's an awesome name. All right. Said, I have a feeling that people overestimate how much control the riders have on their dragons. I can't imagine dragon fighting complex strategy just because the dragon rider was well versed in warfare. Yeah, there's definitely a gray area on how much control, if any. Maybe a rider has a bunch of control. Maybe they are cyclically linked. I know that they are at least a little cyclically linked. I'm pretty sure, at least. Like, we have seen dragon riders in peril and their dragons freaking out, like things like that. Yeah, and then Hawk McBride, and I got one more I'll read. Legendary Dance with the Conqueror wins, of course. And then Kevin Nutzling said, Cannibal seems to have avoided confrontation with large dragons without a rider. He only has instinct to rely on. Balerion would have Aegon's strategy to back him up. Yeah. Okay, moving on. I don't need to beat a dead horse dragon. We can keep going. And going to the other side of the bracket, over to Visenya on Vhagar versus Daemon on Caraxes. So I loved this match when I first thought about it, just because I wanted to do Vhagar Caraxes again. It's like a spiritual rematch, right? And I mean, this is probably one of the closest ones we've had. So Visenya on Vhagar, actually, surprisingly for me, I was pretty surprised, beat over Daemon on Caraxes 59-41. I was actually pretty surprised here. Carlos Otero said, I voted for Daemon. I voted for Daemon if Daemon and Caraxes could take Vhagar when she was bigger. I know Caraxes died too, but maybe a smaller version of Vhagar, Caraxes could survive. Okay, yep, I like it. She can take a smaller version. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pretty good reasoning. The speed factor will still go to Caraxes, and I think the bond between Vhagar and Visenya is big enough to overcome a battle-hardened. And I don't think the bond between Visenya and Vhagar is strong enough to overcome a battle-hardened Daemon and Caraxes. I kind of disagree on the bond. I think Visenya and Vhagar were extremely well bonded. They were together for a very, very, very long time. But I'm not against your reasoning of a draw is how the last time Daemon and Caraxes, when Daemon and Caraxes fought Vhagar, a draw was how that last one ended. And this is a much smaller Vhagar. Still a large Vhagar. Don't get me wrong. So yeah, I think that is a very good reasoning for backing Caraxes and Daemon on this one. That guy said, I don't think that guy had a completely different name, right? Yeah, Zatriel. Zatriel said, I think so many of these end in a draw and all four participants dead. Yeah. but the tournament would end in round 1 because everyone would just die. I'm okay if it ends 50-50 on the final one, that we go with everybody died. That's fine. That's how we ended the jousting tournament. All right. Efren T said, I remember that at their respective points in each time, both dragons would be about the same age, 58 and 66 years old. What happened later above the God's Eye was a much larger Vhagar. Neither of them came out alive. Today's match advantage Caraxes. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's a very good reasoning there. Lawrence Reed just said, first to take the black. What's up, buddy? And Hawk McBride said, I didn't see this one coming, but I'm here for it. I'm glad you're here for it. Let's get somebody who I don't read out. That's just spoilers for Song of Ice and Fire. I'm not going to do it. For Fire and Blood, even though I've already spoiled it enough today. Shaded Bear. You got a different name, Shaded Bear? Ben. All right, Ben B. I was friends with Ben B. Sorry. Ben B. Shaded Bear said, Prime Vhagar and Dami Mommy Visenya is a tag team that may be too hot to handle. Yeah. yeah. I like that a lot. I also like calling Visenya Dami Mommy Visenya. Visenya is low-key hot. All right, I'm just saying. She's crazy. She gets crazy later on, especially when it's her and her son just burning towns. But like, man, like Conquest Visenya, I'd hang out. What's up? I'll holla. I'm so lame. All right. I heard Jada Thief said, lol, 50% again. Schemes upon schemes. Yeah, it was 50% for a while, for like half a day. But Visenya started moving past. And then I think this is the last one I'm going to read, and I'm not going to read all the comments afterwards. I'll skim them really quick. But E-Man said, Daemon is the best dragon in the... Oh, my God. All right. I didn't click to expand it, but it's not as long as... I'm like, what did I just go into? Daemon is the best dragon rider in the verse. Okay. What he pulled off against Vhagar was absolutely amazing. All right. Visenya, well, not some scrub, never facing any real challenges because she grouped up 2 other supersized me type dragons and fought against regular people for the most part. You're not wrong. I wouldn't call... was it Rhaenys and... I'm going to get everybody mad. The other dragon in the Conquest. Oh, my God. I don't have it in front of me. So somebody's yelling it, whatever. I wouldn't call that dragon supersized me big, but I think all 3 of the dragons on the Conquest were pretty nice size. If Daemon can clutch up against Aemon and Vhagar, I trust him to do the same for Visenya and Vhagar. Yeah, I completely agree. I really kind of wish this went Daemon and Caraxes. But yeah, at least Caraxes made it later on in. But yeah, it looks like yeah, nothing really too crazy on one person disagrees. One person calls it copium. I don't know. I don't think it's copium. I agree. One person agreed. Yeah. All right. I think we're good. We can move on. I'm spending too long on this. This is going to be a long video, and I didn't want it to be this long. Ulf the White versus Aegon II Targaryen. And I liked this one so much thematically because it's like one's like a drunkard and one's like a king. And that's supposed to be like the number one of royalty and a regalness versus like a drunk. But the king is not that. He is very much a drunk and a piece of crap. Yeah, so I kind of like the connections there. And also the Queen Alysanne's old dragon, so it's like the old queen dragon versus the new king dragon. Ulf the White versus Aegon on Sunfyre. And yeah, said Ulf has more experience in combat on Dragonback than Aegon ever did. My money's on Ulf. I was kind of surprised by what, like, eventually he did get what, like 2 or 3 matches, but I don't think Ulf ever went up against another dragon, did he? I might have forgotten. Here, don't quote me on that. Sorry, there's one person asking. Baylor Blakespear commented on this, trying to get a hold of us when my stream's chat went down during our live stream. It was this day. Hot McBride said both of their riders are drunks with Sunfyre's durability and tenacity can pull them through. All right. Here, is it Dirt is King? Is that just your name? Dirt is King? All right. Dirt is King. Dirt is King said, or DRT is King. So my boy Aegon II on that Sunfyre were able to fight dragons injured, survive battles, and should have been floored in, and it seems him and Sunfyre are an actual nearly perfect pairing of rider and dragon. Yeah, you're not wrong. I love the thematic similarities between dragon and rider when it comes to Aegon and Sunfyre. That Sunfyre was like the most beautiful dragon ever, right? And then Sunfyre gets super messed up. And Aegon is the king and he gets super messed up. And they both get like down and dirty and gritty, right? Like that's something I actually really like thematically. I don't like either of them. I hate Aegon II, book and show. But yeah, but I do like the thematic similarities. So let's finish what you were saying. Maybe you're going to flip and say something completely different. They survive battles they shouldn't have, and it seems that him and Sunfyre are actually nearly perfect pairing. Okay, given that Ulf would not be good rider and Silverwing does not have any aggression to win, I think Aegon II and Sunfyre will absolutely pull out the win. That's some good reasoning. I'm not against that. Oh, way too long. Sorry. I was like, oh, I better click. And it was like a giant paragraph. I'm not reading that. Everyone T said Sunfyre is relatively young dragon, perhaps in his early 20s. While Silverwing is closer to 100 years old, but by size alone, Silverwing should have this. A lot of people only went by size. And I think that can go either way. Yep, here we go. And this is one person who Nicholas Gabby brings up size a lot. In fact, right here it says based purely on size, Silverwing and Ulf win. Nothing else in this scenario can really make a difference. And then there was a few back and forths that I was not thrilled about, and I kind of just stopped reading eventually because I was tired of people arguing. And I just want to state right now that if you were in the comments and you were part of more than one kind of like back and forth, you might have been the person causing that, and I would like for you not to be so aggressive and coming after people. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm not calling anyone up by name. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm not your dad. I'm not your teacher. But I do like to foster a community that likes to have discussions and also celebrates their nerdism. And if you're in here just constantly arguing because somebody doesn't agree with you about a imaginary dragon fight, then dude, please just start being nicer. And yeah, and if you're like literally there's a person whose name I see underneath like 4 different people and just this chat alone coming after them, and I don't like it. Whether or not you think you're right or I think you're right, you do not need to be arguing to such an aggressive extent. And if you're mad thinking I'm calling you out, I literally am not. I'm not even saying your name. I'm just asking you to pump the brakes a little. All right. Where are we now? So that was that was Ulf and Aegon. Yeah. So we're on Nettles. No, we're not. Who? Wrong Nettles. Whoops. Whoops. This Nettles. Holy crap. That was spoilers. All right. Nettles versus Rhaenyra and Cyrax. And yeah, I liked this match just because thematically I know that these two characters that Rhaenyra and Sheepstealer, or Rhaenyra and Nettles butt heads over a certain family member later on, so it was kind of funny. All right, Connor said that Cyrax and Rhaenyra get no diffed by anyone. Get no diffed by anyone. Diffed. I don't know what that means. And then Tyler Chaplin said, I have to agree. I'm assuming he means with the results. There's no evidence in the books and the show that Rhaenyra ever went into battle. Nettles fought in the gauntlet. Sheepstealer was probably larger as well. Yeah, we're not 100% sure of how big Sheepstealer was. There's a lot of speculation that Sheepstealer is pretty big. Dirt is King said, this really is a jobber's bracket. Rhaenyra never actually fought against anybody. And I'm not going to say how they died, but Sheepstealer and Nettles was always more experienced than ever Dragon Riders, but whoever wins gets eaten in the second round. Correct. I want you to explain to me, because I've now done these tournaments, and I'm not trying to come after you. I want you to see it from my point of view. I've now done these tournaments for a very long time, and I'm trying to make round ones exciting and round twos somehow balanced, and that's impossible. Either I have stomps in one round or stomps in the other, and there's literally no way of going about it. Making interesting round one matches is the best I can do. And then what do we just should we just jump right to Balerion versus Balerion? Then let's just do that. Then next time just show up for the finals, because I have to have two smaller characters sometimes go against each other when they're walking into hell. It's just how it goes. There just isn't enough S-tier fighters. And if I want to have a C-tier person, eventually I know they're going to run into an S-tier in round 2 or round 3 or round 4, and there's just nothing I can do about it. If we wanted to go that route, then I should be doing 16-person fights and just be doing S-tier fighters. And that's boring. I like having, Sheepstealer, Cyrax, or even in my fighting tournaments, I like having your Illa for the Pennilesses get a chance to get one win. That's what makes these tournaments fun, is the fact I do 128 characters. And doing that, I have to use lower tier matches in round 1. So I'm sure you know that, and you're probably not coming after me. I just went, when somebody argues against, well, it's a crap match, look, you do it then. like it's the point that I don't have as much time as people would think. I work a full-time job. I have 2 kids. I have a marriage I work on really a lot because I love the partnership I have with my wife, and that takes time. I'm a homeowner. That takes time. And I do this for fun. And then if somebody gets like, well, this isn't exactly completely perfect, well, you do it then. Because this is my hobby, guys. I'm an extremely busy person, and I put the little bit of time I have to myself. I don't play video games anymore. I barely went on a bike ride this summer. I've literally used all my free time. I'm not complaining. I'm not trying to get anything. I'm doing that. I'm an adult. I know what I'm doing. I want to spend it this way, but then it really sucks to then get negative feedback if I put this much work into it. That's all I'm getting at. I'm not asking for any validation. I'm literally just asking for respect on that. I'm sorry, Dirt is King. You probably don't deserve all of that. I was just trying to say it is a jobbers match, and I'm sorry. But if we didn't have jobbers matches, then we wouldn't have jobbers. And if we didn't have jobbers, well, that's the point of the tournament. Then let's just jump to the ending. Like it's boring that way. Okay. Enough of that. Burnman gang rise up. Thank you, Irish Potato Thief. And then Hog McBride said Nettles hands down. So yeah, Nettles moves right into a buzzsaw. But we're fine. Speaking of buzzsaw, let's see how that guy's doing. So our first Tucker, right? Yeah, it's our first Tucker. I'm checking the other ones. Yeah. Maegor on Balerion, 97% over Hugh the Hammer on Vermithor. So let's play that, Tucker.
You got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. I was a little surprised, and I knew Maegor on Balerion's going very far. Don't get me wrong. But this is not Jaehaerys on Vermithor. This is Hugh. Vermithor's big. He's a big dragon. And he was savage. No. No, not even close. 97%. Go home, Hugh. You were thought you could play with the big boys, and you got knocked down. Back to the small folk. Baelor Blakespear said when the hammer becomes the nail. Maegor on Balerion is a likely unbeatable. Yeah, possibly. Connor said that Maegor would fist fight Hugh Hammer and Vermithor and win. Also, remember, my fandom does like there's quite a lot of Maegor based people in my fandom, and even though I completely disagree, I'm here for you being here. I don't want to exclude you guys because of your crazy beliefs. But yeah, they show up is what I'm saying. Like the Maegor crop shows up. Yep. Okay. Yeah, and then you got HCLW just saying Balerion is an automatic win unless you have another Balerion. Well, somebody does in this tournament. Skill won't save it. You grit won't save you. Crab, you don't even have a particular experienced rider with that big boy. Any fight is barbecue chicken. Everton T said, well, it's not going to be 100%. Will it be a Tucker? It was a Tucker. You're right. All right, let's find some with a lot of thumbs up. Oh, we didn't have a bunch here. And then George, let's get a name for you, George. George Herschel said, Maegor doesn't even need a dragon. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. Moving on. So that was round one, right? So this is what we're looking at. So we're getting in the round two right now. Don't go anywhere. And yeah, so Jaehaerys versus Rhaenys. Then we have Aemon versus Caraxes. Or sorry, Aemon on Caraxes versus Aegon I on Balerion. And then Visenya on Vhagar. Aegon II on Sunfyre, and then sorry, I'm stretching. That's why I all of a sudden start talking weird. Nettles on Sheepstealer versus Maegor, and yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's get right into Jaehaerys on Rhaenys. So it's really weird of how one-sided round two was, and you know it's probably what it is because, like I said, I had a good match, and then a mid-card match, and then a mid-card match, and a good match, pretty much on both these sizes. So then round two is going to be those mid-carders are just going to get knocked out. And what am I supposed to do? Did you want just an 8-person tournament? The mid-carders deserved a little bit of love. So yeah, Jaehaerys on Vermithor 181 to Rhaenys is 19. And then let's find that match. There we go. So E. Marty said they disagree. Queen who never was deserving some respect. Yeah. Baelor Blakespear said, I just need to know if this is before or after the council spurned her money on Rhaenys. See, the comments are loving Meleys and Rhaenys. Kevin Nutzling said Meleys was incredibly fast, and at least time she actually slightly outsized Vermithor. What sways me towards Rhaenys and Meleys is that they died fighting Vhagar and Sunfyre. Vermithor at his largest died against Sea Smoke and Tessarion, two much smaller dragons. I added that two much smaller dragons just for people who don't know dragon size. Yeah, very true. Like the comments sway me. Like I think Rhaenys should have won. I think people really like Jaehaerys. I think that's a lot of it. And then Irish Potato Thief said, I will see some form of my bronze beauty raise high in this bracket. Yeah. And then Grant Campbell just went, Jerry. It's a Jerry Springer reference. It's hilarious. You know, I'm glad I started calling Jaehaerys the first old King Jerry or new old King Jerry or young old King Jerry, whatever version of that, just because I didn't like typing out Jaehaerys every time. So I just started calling him Jerry. And the fact that it eventually led to a Jerry Springer, Jerry. I'm happy, man. I'm good, man. All right. Aemon on Caraxes versus Aegon on Balerion. And yeah, I'll play it.
You got knocked the fuck out.
Dudes, it's Balerion. You know, we should go and look back at that Cannibal match and realize what we actually were looking at. Because we thought this was, oh man, Cannibal really lost. 18%. Every other Balerion match, we've seen 4 now. 3 of them are Tuckers. Sorry, but one later on will be Tuckers too. So yeah, we should have at least been a little happy that Cannibal got more than 10% out of it. Not much more, but he did. All right, Aemon on Caraxes only got 4% before he got chomp by Aegon on Aegon the First. And yeah, not a lot of comments on this. I can read all 4. Efren said the last time Aemon rode Caraxes, the dragon was around 26 years old, and Balerion was 126 years old, with Aegon during the Dornish War. Quicksilver all over again. Yeah, kinda. You're not wrong. Irish Potato Thief said it's gonna be the Balerions all the way down, isn't it? Yeah, probably. I tried. No, I didn't try hard enough. Kevin Nutzling said Balerion definitely outside Caraxes a lot of these at these times. On top of that, Aemon didn't have the same legendary connection with Caraxes that Daemon had. This fight would definitely go to Aegon. And then HCLW said Balerion, instant win. There you go. Moving on, guys. And just round 2, man.
You got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, I think there's only one non-Tucker in round 2. Visenya on Vhagar 93 to Aegon's 7. So, yeah. Let's get to it. Oh, click the wrong thing. There you go. Okay, so Huck McBride just said, "Rip. Can't really defend Sunfyre on this one." Yeah, it's not going to be easy. And then Assassin Craft, Voidspawn. I knew you had a different name. Voidspawn said, "I believe in the Visenya supremacy." And then Dirt is King said, "Aegon II is better than his record. Visenya is still perhaps the most skilled dragon rider of her age." Yes, facts. And has the aggression needed to win. Facts. Visenya on her dragon will pull the W easily here. Yes, Dirt is King. Completely agree. And I hope the next round Visenya doesn't get tuckered, because I feel like it might happen because who they're going against. But Visenya and Vhagar deserve the possibility of going, like, I don't want them to get stomped. I want there to be a chance to make it to the finals. That's all I'm saying. Because I think they have the goods. And then yeah, Rebel Lord Terran, dude, where have you been? Said Aegon II is a turd of a sequel to the original Aegon who kicked ass. Yeah. Been seen you for a while, Rebel. And then Efren T said after this match, Sunfyre will no longer be the most beautiful dragon ever seen in the known world. And then somebody commented, like, really? Isn't beauty subjective and blah, blah, blah? Was he ever really? No, he's just quoting the books. Everyone says the most beautiful. We don't actually know. We're only going off what we heard, and everyone says he's the most beautiful dragon. I've never seen Sunfyre because he's fictional. But yeah. Clicky. All right, final one, and that's Nettles, Balerion the Black Dragon. Yeah, I got it.
You got knocked the fuck out.
So this was this morning, and when I'm posting about a poll less than a day old, I'm usually more nervous. Like, oh, this could flip. Maybe I shouldn't do this video yet. Yeah, I think we're safe. I don't think it's going anywhere. Currently, after 127 votes, unless you guys somehow flip it, Maegor on Balerion is absolutely eating Nettles 94-6%. And these are just from today. Everyone T said it, Sheepstealer would be a big dragon about 100 years old, but unless Nettles is some Children of the Forest magic. Yeah, a lot of people do think that Nettles is a child of the forest, though. They have no chance of defeating Balerion the Black Dread. Kevin Nutzling said Nettles never had any one-on-one dragon fights that we've seen so far. Maegor was a hardened warrior, and Balerion was a massive, powerful Nettles doesn't stand a chance. Yeah, it's all pretty valid. And then Paylor Blakespeare said, "Oh, I don't. Hey, LeVar Ball. How's Maegor going?" And then LeVar never lost. That must be a reference I don't understand. And Delonic Titan, do you got a different name? Yeah. Ezra Graves said, Nettles, because I believe in miracles. Hey, man, I love you. Simple logic. Steal all the sheep in Westeros. Get big from the sheep. No sheep left for Balerion. Balerion starts eating chicken and peasants. Peasants revolt and kill Balerion. Sheepstealer wins. Flawless logic. We're flipping this. Balerion the Black Thread loses. Love it. I love it. And then lastly, we got Nicholas Gabby again with, again, Maegor and Balerion. It's hard combo to beat. This is the Balerion. This is Balerion at closest to his prime. You got a good point. Balerion reached so big that he'd be sluggish like Vhagar was during the dance. Yeah, I completely agree. And how he was when Visenya claimed him shortly before his death. Or Viserys claimed him shortly before his death. Yeah, I think, Maegor on Balerion is definitely peak dragon. When it comes to, like, maybe you could say, but he's out already, but you could say, Aemon on Vhagar. Vhagar is bigger, or even Cannibal is bigger, but like, not sluggish, not old, not geriatric, if you will, old man geriatric. And also, when you talk about bonding with your rider, there isn't a scarier person for a dragon to bond to than Maegor. I'm just saying. All right, this is what we're looking at now, guys. We only got 3 matches left, and 2 of them are Balerion. Balerion. How many times do I call him a different name? I'm sure I have. All right, so we got Jerry on Vermithor versus Aegon. I hope we don't have another Tucker left. I really hope they're done. But yeah, we got 2 Balerion the Black Dreads in there. So you got Jaehaerys versus Aegon on him, and then you got Visenya and Vhagar versus Maegor on Balerion. And I hope Visenya and Vhagar do really good. There's a weird possible chance she might win. I don't think there's a chance Jerry is going to win, and I honestly don't think there's a chance anyone's going to beat the Dread except for the Dread. And that being said, I don't know who they're going to put over. Maybe just because the one Maegor's on is the biggest at that point, but we'll see. Next time, the next video I make will not be an update. It will be a afterwards, and I'm going to wait until it's done in a few days before I make another one. So this is an hour video. I'm going to post it and then nap, probably. Jeez, talking at you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I don't want anyone to feel like I come down on them about their comments. I appreciate all comments. Just sometimes I just don't like them being argumentative. But for the most part, compared to the tournament, the big character tournament, these have been pretty good. And thank you for showing up. All of your interactions are extremely highly appreciated. Every time you vote, thank you. Every like, every share. You guys really do come out whenever I do these tournaments. You guys show up. And it warms my cold, nasty, dead heart. So thank you guys a ton. And yeah, I'm going to upload this now. See you soon. Peace.